Welcome back to Supernova 2013 on the Gold Coast. I'm Steve Muller.
And I'm Mel.
And we are joined by the one, the only, Mr. Dave Gibbons.
Thank you.
Yeah! Come on, Dave Gibbons! Now, Dave, what does bring you to the Gold Coast, apart from Supernova?
What brings me to the Gold Coast is really Supernova because I've been invited. I've been to Australia before with the Supernova people, had the most fantastic time, and I was only too happy to come back again.
Have you ever been over here just for a holiday?
It's a long way to come just for a holiday, although frankly I go to the Gold Coast for a holiday. I'd really like to spend more time here.
Oh, it is very nice and sunny, even though we are inside under all the fluorescent light.
I'm vaguely familiar with the concept of sunny. We haven't seen any sun in England for about 7 months, so this is a welcome return.
Now, what about it, Supernova this year are you here for? Because we know you best for really, you must be tired of hearing it. Watchmen.
I'm not tired of hearing it at all. There's much worse things to be blamed for. I've obviously worked on other things since then. I worked on a series with Frank Millar called Martha Washington, and I've just finished a series with a writer called Mark Millar, not Millar, no relation to Frank, called The Secret Service. We've just finished the run of that. We got the hardcover coming out, and it will be a movie. There will be a movie coming next year.
Speaking of movies, because you were a consultant on Watchmen, now we all know the history of Alan Moore with Watchmen and not going for the films. Have you ever felt that moral obligation not to see it? And before Watchmen, the new comics, how do you feel about all these extra works being made of your original masterpiece?
Well, as I've always said quite clearly, and in the press release that I did for DC, everything you need to know about Watchmen is in the original graphic novel. I understand why DC would want to do before Watchmen, and I understand why people would want to work on it, but I've got no interest in it at all. As far as the movie's concerned, we always knew there was going to be a movie. Before relationships soured with Alan, he was all up for it being a movie as well. And, Alan and I are different people, but I don't think the concept of morality really applies to it. I think it's for commercial reasons.
All right, now you mentioned the story title you're doing with Mark Millar. What else are you working on? What can we expect from Dave Gibbons in the future?
Well, I'm also working with a company called Madefire. We're doing digital comics. You can download it for free on the App Store. That's Madefire. We've got a lot of free content in there by me and various other people. We're making the tool to do the motion comics available for free on DeviantArt. So there's a lot of excitement about that. I'm also going to be working on a sequel to a game that I was involved with way back in the 90s called Beneath the Steel Sky, which funnily enough is actually set in a post-apocalyptic Australia.
Oh.
Yeah, so
you're just here for research?
Really, yes, yeah. And it's pretty post-apocalyptic in here at any rate. So yeah, I'm working on a variety of... The other thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm now at an age where I think the world is ready for my autobiography, so I'm going to be doing an autobiography. And the questions you were asking me about Alan Moore and what everybody thinks they know about the history of it is perhaps something that I'm going to be addressing there.
Well, I'm looking forward to reading that. Mel?
You're so successful with some of the things that you've done. Is there a highlight so far, up to date? Something you can give us, a little tidbit?
You mean of the work that I've already done? Well, I think as we were saying, when my obituary is finally written in the far distant future, the word Watchman is going to be in the first 3 lines, if not the first 3 words. So that to me has always been a high spot. I also felt really lucky and proud to have done the Superman story with Alan Moore, for The Man Who Has Everything. To work with a great writer on the top superhero character of all time, with an editor called Julius Schwartz, who edited all my favourite books when I was a boy. That was a real highlight for me. And also I think the graphic novel I did, kind of the autobiographical graphic novel I did, called The Originals, is something I was really proud I got the chance to do. So yeah, those are some highlights. Yeah.
Fantastic. And do you have a favourite superhero?
A favourite superhero? Well, I suppose I would have to say, because he is the granddaddy of them all, it is Superman himself. And I understand actually as we're recording this, I think this is the 75th anniversary of Superman's appearance. And so he's outlasted them all.
So you're looking forward to the movie coming out this year?
Oh, I really am. I obviously got to know Zack Snyder a bit, and I know how committed he is to these things. And I'm sure, like the people who are watching this, I saw the new trailer that was out just a few days ago, and I'm blown away by that. I really think this could be the one that will put Superman back.
Well, after what he did with Watchmen, we can only expect awesome things from it, right?
I mean, he did do an awesome version of Watchmen. If it was going to be made into a movie, I can't imagine anybody doing it any better than him. So, yeah, I think Superman is going to be big once again.
Now, before we let you go, I do have one question. You've worked with Superman and many other characters. Who is the one character that you have always wanted to work with, but never been able to?
Well, you know, again, because of the length of time that I've been in this business, I really have drawn every character that I'm kind of interested in. I've worked with some people. It's a bit like, I don't know, getting up on stage to play with the Rolling Stones or something. Like, I work with Julie Schwartz. I've done stuff with Stan Lee, with Will Eisner, Frank Miller. You know,
You're making me just weep.
I know. I mean, let me tell you, my ambition was to work in comics, and my ambition is still to work in comics. So every day I'm working in comics, to me, is like a dream come true.
So for anyone out there who is looking to get into the comic business, whatever form that may be, what kind of advice would you offer them?
Well, if you want to do comics, if you want to draw comics, you have to really like to draw, because you're going to be drawing for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. You have to really like to draw. And I think you also have to do it for the enjoyment of it, not to become a comic book superstar, but you have to love the process of drawing, love telling stories, and you need luck.
Maybe you'll get to where this guy is one day.
I mean, it's luck as well. It's not all just hard work.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Dave. It has been a pleasure to have you here at Supernova on the Gold Coast. Can we expect you back next year?
Well, if not next year, the two conventions I haven't done are Adelaide and Brisbane. So I'm hoping that when Australia's had a chance to recover a little bit, I'll be back again for those.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us, Dave. Pleasure to meet you. Welcome back to Supernova Gold Coast. Welcome back to Supernova 2013 on the Gold Coast. I'm Steve Muller, and we are joined by the one, the only Mr. Dave Gibbons.
Thank you.
Yeah.